Hello, everybody. We're here standing in place, continuing to stand in place with Eric Mark. It is November 10th, I believe. My watch says 10th. And yes, I do use a watch. Like, it's not even a smart watch. It's just a basic Casio Pro Trick. I guess it's not so basic. It has like an altimeter on it that I use that's not accurate. But it helps me understand sort of how high in elevation I am or not. So there's that. Episode 31, Standing in Place. I'm Eric. Hi. I'm glad you could join me again tonight. I wanted to share an experience I just had. So I was having dinner with my dear partner in crime, and she made the comment that the amount of meat that you are supposed to eat is the size of your fist. That's how much meat you are supposed to consume. So if you're small-handed, you don't get to eat a lot of steak. If you have massive hands, all the steak. Apparently that's how it works. I was unsure. I had never heard this before. So in typical Eric fashion, I looked it up, and I found what appears to be some consistent information, and I found a rabbit hole that just went way too far, where I think that one was from the New York Post, and they wanted to describe that you can identify all of your proper eating portions by your hand. And how convenient is that? Because everywhere you go with your hands, which I think is terribly, terribly lacking understanding, compassion for those people that might not have hands but still have mouths and they want to eat the food and they don't have hands. In fact, I had a family member, and that's not even a joke, that has no hands. So he's not able to do that. So shame on you, New York Post. The UK article that I found. So it's UK and New York Post. They both seem to agree that it is not a fist of meat. Do not eat fist-size meat portions. It's the palm of your hand. So the palm of your hand. Remove your fingers. If you have a fingerless hand, you have the correct measuring tool to establish the amount of meat that you're supposed to be eating with a meal, which is ridiculous. But yeah, so the palm of your hand. So for me, like a reasonably sized chicken breast, I guess, is the amount of meat that I'm supposed to eat, which I could see that being reasonably fulfilling. A good size hamburger patty. That's actually a pretty sweet hamburger patty. Yay, high five hamburger patties. But the steak that I ate tonight was definitely not, it was like whole hand steak. Whole hand steak, and slightly thicker than my hand. And to me, I feel like that's the right amount of meat. I don't know how scientific this measurement is. I mean, we once had a food pyramid that had like cereals and bread. There's the foundation, and has since been established that that's not accurate. There's vegetarians that are perfectly healthy that do it correctly. There's people that are completely carnivore that are super healthy and only eat meat, and I imagine they're eating more than a palm of meat. So no. I think a diet is specific to a person, and maybe like don't eat cakes. Don't eat just cakes. Don't eat just cakes is probably a fair rule across the board. I don't think you could be a cakeitarian. A cakeitarian is not a thing, and if it is, you're not going to live very long, so your species is going to die out if you're cakeitarian. Cakeitarian is not a survivable lifestyle. Even cupcakeitarian. Cakeitarian, cupcakeitarian, both are problematic. If you just eat Mentos, that's going to be a problem. But if you're eating a balanced diet and you want to use what the UK, wherever, I don't remember what the news source was something.uk. It is The palm, so the meaty portion of your hand, is how much meat you're supposed to eat. You're supposed to eat a fist of carbohydrates, which is why they're sticking potatoes and everything, because it's very fist-sized. So you can have a fist of potatoes and a palm size of some flavorless meat product. And then I think it was a thumb tip of fats. So somehow you're supposed to establish a thimble, a thimble of corn oil. Don't eat corn oil. This shit's disgusting. Olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, or maybe there's just some fat on the meat. But yeah, that's supposed to be thumb size. The other one, I'm tempted to grab my phone and pull it up. I'm going to do that. Was the New York Post, and it was ridiculous. Yeah, look at this. So you can eat a clenched fist of uncooked pasta. So if you don't cook your pasta and you're leaving it raw, then the correct amount is to eat a clenched fist of crunchy rigatoni, because that's insanity. Chocolate, you can eat one index finger, not a middle finger, not a pinky finger, not a thumb. You, if you want to be a chocolate eater, the correct amount is only to eat an index finger worth of chocolate. These aren't jokes, but I find this shit funny as hell, and I'm sharing it with you. So you don't have to look it up yourself. You just hang with me, and I'll share the absurdity that is out in the world. So meat palm of hand. So they agree with that. New York Post, meat, the palm of your hand worth of meat. Got it. Oily fish, palm. White fish, whole hand. So oily fish, you have less. White fish, whatever that might be, farm-raised tilapia that are just like gangbanging and shitting all over each other. Fish in a man-made pond in the middle of a desert somewhere. Don't eat tilapia. That stuff's disgusting. Uncooked spinach, 4 handfuls. So those of you that don't have any hands because some asshole took 2 of your hands and now they have 4 hands, so they can measure out 4 handfuls of uncooked spinach. Or like you have a buddy over, like, you gotta come over, we're doing some spinach measuring. I only have 2 hands and I need to have 4 hands, so you gotta bring your 2 hands so that together I have 2 hands and you have 2 hands, so together we have 4 hands and we can measure out 4 handfuls of spinach so that I can meet my dietary requirements for the day after having my palm meat or oily fish. There's also palm nuts. Nuts are 1 palm. So get on that. Get on your palm nuts. And be healthy. Potato clenched fist. So they're on board with the UK on that one. Vegetable clenched fist. I would like 1 clenched fist worth of uncooked carrots, please. Thank you very much. Butter. Thumb tip. Hey, so that actually correlates with the fat. So the butter is a thumb tip. Any fat, butter, olive oil, and spreads such as almond butter or peanut butter shown here should be a serving no bigger than a teaspoon or the size of the end of your thumb from the knuckle to the tip of the nail, and no more than 2 or 3 portions a day. You can only have 3 thumbnails of peanut butter per day, and if you have different sized thumbs, you might not measure accurately because this says that it must be a teaspoon. Is your thumb a teaspoon? Have you ever tried to put your thumb in a teaspoon to determine if you can properly and accurately measure nut butters that you wish to imbibe in order to live a healthy lifestyle? 1 teaspoon, 1 thumbnail. It's ridiculous. Of nut butter. Small fruits, 2 cupped hands. So you can have 4 open hands of uncooked spinach, but if you want to have some fruits, 2 cupped hands. Actually, that's a lot of fruit. Cheese! We're measuring that with thumbs. 2 thumbs. 2 thumbs up. I thumbs up for cheese. You know what? I'm going to eat as much cheese as I can until I can't shit anymore, because that's the right amount of cheese. I'm half Dutch. I can eat all the cheese I want. Cake. 2 fingers. 2 fingers. Isn't that the same? Uncooked pasta. Chocolate's 1 finger. Cake is 2 fingers. So now we know. If you want cake, you're supposed to have 2 fingers of cake. That... So it's recommended that if you're going to have some cake, that you explore the cake with your 2 fingers. And whatever amount of cake you're able to obtain with the 2 fingers, that is the correct amount of cake to consume if you want to live a healthy lifestyle and make all your food measurements based on your hand. Yeah, that's ridiculous. I'm not fingering my cake. Cake, the correct portion is the amount that gives you a stomach ache and a sugar rush, but you can't just eat that all the time. So you just eat cake sometimes, but you eat a lot of it because cake's delicious. Oh man, I hope that was helpful to all of you. So now you know as well as I do how to measure your food quantities based on some very strange sign language. It's wonderful. Potato, meat. I guess I ate too much meat. I don't know. I think I've been healthier lately than usual, and I've been eating a lot of meat and veg and not as much carbs, not as much potato. Although there's Jersey sweet potatoes. They're so good. Get those. Get the white ones. They're marked Jersey, or they're like golden sweet potatoes. They're way sweeter and they're fantastic. So yeah, if you want to rock some sweet potatoes, get those ones. Okay, so that is health. I'm glad. So for tonight's conversation, we covered nutrition. I'm glad we've got that out of the way. I'd like to share that I got a haircut today. I know that's very exciting for all of you. Today was evidence that I don't need to get my hair cut every couple months, especially because I'm growing it. I only need to get my hair cut apparently only once every 8 months, because it was way before COVID. And I decided to go into a space with a bunch of strangers to wear a mask just to get some of this mop trimmed. It wasn't really worth the trouble. So, but I'm looking pretty now. I shaved up my beard a little bit. We talked about that last week. Very exciting. And I had these crazy, wings. I had gray hair coming outside of my head, which if I was an Italian mobster, would be fantastic, because I would have those badass wings, going up. But I'm not big, so I'm not very intimidating. But I would still have those wings, which mob guys, they mean business if they have that. So I could tell people to do shit, and they'd see those gray wings going up the side of my slicked back Italian guy hair, and man, they'd know I was for real. They're gone now. They were just fluffy things, and I keep tying this thing back. Eventually, it's going to get given away. So I've done this, I think I described before. I don't know if I'm 3, 4, or 5 times now. I grew a bunch of hair because I still can. Hey, that's cool. Feels good. It's fun. And when it gets long enough, I donate it. And then Cancer Kids, somebody that needs hair that's going through chemotherapy, something like that, they can have my hair, which I think it's a good thing, right? I imagine that makes those guys, gals, life easier, better. It's a good cause for sure. And then there's a little bit of amusement to me because I'm going, like I said, I'm going a little gray now. And they won't take your hair if you dye it. So I'm giving Cancer Kids gray hair, which is kind of amusing to me. So I got to believe the kids on the way to recovery. They're going to be all right, which means that I get to then enjoy humor. I'm not going to feel bad because they're going to be all right. They have a hard time, and then they're going to be good. And then they're going to wear my gray-ass hair, which a 5, 10-year-old going through that shit and having a gray wig, I just think is amusing and very esteemed. Very. They could do the mob. They could do the mob wig. That'd be badass. Kid in elementary school surviving cancer, kicking cancer's ass, and they're wearing Eric's gray hair on their head. It's awesome. I think that'd be cool. I don't know. So yeah, that's the deal. I'm a little bit cleaned up. That's why I'm looking so beautiful right now. And that's all there is to that. Yeah. November, aka COVID December. Hope you're getting your Christmas shopping in. Take care of your Christmas things. We got COVID Thanksgiving, COVID Christmas coming. It's going to be amazing. We got vaccines got released today. Somehow it's got to be shipped around the country in coolers that are negative 3,463 degrees. I'm sure nothing will go wrong there. All of that stuff will be perfectly fine when it arrives where it's supposed to be. You know, that's not true. Because think about if you have a package delivered that has a this end up arrow on it, or a fragile label on it. How consistent are those delivery people with that? We just had a box delivered. I saw it in the back of the truck. It had this end up, like a big ass box, supposed to be positioned a certain way. That thing was flipped over on its side with the arrows pointing the wrong way. They slid it out of the truck, they put it on a hand truck, they flipped it again in the wrong direction, eventually like rolling it into my garage into the correct upright position. So that they can't even ship a box in the correct orientation from one location to another. You think that these vaccinations are going to make it all over the country, negative, god-awful amount of degrees, and they're not going to screw that up? And if they do screw it up, you don't think they're just going to refreeze it and send it on its way? My ass. My ass. Definitely in for vaccines. Definitely not in for the first round. Yeah, let's get some solid testing. Let's figure out how this transportation is going to work. Let's not hear about the COVID vaccine found in a river bed with a bunch of election ballots. No, thank you. So yeah, just I guess we'll wear some masks for a while. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, enjoy Christmas. I think we'll talk before then. Enjoy your COVID December, aka November. Get your Christmas shopping online, in person, all that done. And yeah, that's it. Be cool. Love each other. We'll see you in a week. Take care.